All right.
Yeah, that's it.
Welcome back to Defining Moments podcast. My name is Wong Lam, and today's very special guest is the power couple of Sean, Danielle of Prevail Strength, CEOs, the owners.
Yes.
Welcome to the podcast,
Yes,
brother, man.
thanks,
Appreciate
thanks.
it.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Danielle's a professional photographer,
Yes.
and thank you for your service, United States Marines.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. How y'all doing this morning?
Good.
Good.
Great.
Just hanging out?
Yeah.
Woke up, had pancakes this morning.
Pancakes, chocolate, protein pancakes. That sounds very fitnessy.
But they're really not.
But they're not. They're not like.
They're just like pancakes that have protein added. They're
yeah,
not
they're
like
not like.
some.
I'm like.
No, they're still pretty tasty. Have you had
They
the
might be gluten-free. I don't know.
what is the
Kodiak.
Kodiak
Yes.
pancakes?
Yes.
They're pretty good.
They're so-
They are really good.
Yeah.
We've had the I think they do keto pancakes too.
Oh yeah.
Or paleo, one of the above.
Yeah.
And it's super good.
Yeah.
You guys talking about fitness. Are you guys gluten free?
No.
Oh.
But I mean.
No, we're not gluten free. We don't have any kind of like specific. There's no like diet we specifically follow or any kind of vegan or gluten free or anything like that. But we have definitely learned there's some tolerances
Yep.
with dairy, and I've definitely learned that I'm not as like, like wheat beers are a bit much, but it's not that we go like gluten free.
Okay.
So we definitely learned some tolerances with
Yeah.
the high ends of those things.
I feel like for the most part, I'm probably dairy free. I like try
Yeah.
to avoid it. Because it just doesn't make me feel that great.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I'm not like intolerant, but
Right.
it's just, I don't know. Just when you start like paying attention, like after, you eat
Yeah.
something and you're like, oh,
Right.
I don't want to do that all the time.
Yeah.
So,
That's true. Do you guys ever indulge though? Thanksgiving, Christmas,
Oh.
during the week?
Way more. We lean
Yeah.
very hard into the 80-20 rule. That's something we teach at Prevail.
Okay.
80% of your meals as high quality as possible.
Okay.
20 meals low quality. 20% low quality.
Okay.
So that comes out to like, if you have, let's just say, 28 meals a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means that like 25 to 26 of them are as in line as possible.
Okay.
And there's a little bubble room of like 2 to 3 meals where it's not, we don't use the word cheat meal,
Right.
but it's not a big deal for us once a week or twice a week to have a burger with a side salad or,
Yeah.
Right.
have pancakes and eggs in the morning, and that's just part of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's,
waffle fries. Or
I don't think there's ever really big splurges
No.
because it's kind of planned into the way we think about food.
Yeah.
Okay.
And removing like the restriction part of it, there's like never a need to feel like you need to like do a splurge because you could always have something if you want to have it. You
Yeah.
can just like,
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Right. Yeah.
But I think the splurging part comes with like when you like limit things, and people are like, I get Sunday to eat whatever I want, and then like, because they have to be like super strict throughout the week.
Yeah. So we don't do any restrictive diets.
Okay. You talked about splurging earlier, and you also mentioned hamburgers and a side salad. Is that splurging? Because I thought hamburgers without the bun are actually not too bad.
Well,
Maybe you with a bun.
Always eat the bun.
That's the point. Is like one of our favorites is the Pub W burger,
Okay.
and it's got
It's so good.
it's got a whole bunch of
Oh
stuff
my
on
gosh,
it.
it is so good.
But like if I go somewhere and it's just like, you know what, I'm gonna get the bacon cheeseburger straight up as is. I'm not gonna take anything off. I'm not gonna remove the bread. But it's not that I'm opposed to fries, but I know the way I feel is I'm probably going to get more total nutrition out of, I'm going to get the side of broccoli with this bacon cheeseburger. So I'm managing that meal a little bit better from a nutrient side than a cheat meal or a splurge meal.
Gotcha.
Because then you can manage it much more long term. It's not a big deal to have a bacon cheeseburger with a broccoli every Friday night. as part of just your process.
Yeah, but if you're going balls to the wall and having the bacon cheeseburger, loaded fries with a milkshake afterwards, you're probably gonna take like a day to feel like decent again, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
very
Yeah.
true.
Right. It's much more sustainable approach to.
Yeah.
And I think the big part with most people failing on nutrition is that it's very 0 to hero approach, and then they go into these big stints where they go 3 weeks being perfect, and then they have a fail and they never go back.
Oh, okay.
So it's very this like they go into this very unnatural like cyclical effect of on off, and so we try to teach that there is no on and off. It's just always part. You're never on a diet, you're never off a diet. You're just always trying to eat as high quality as possible, as often as possible.
Yeah.
And when you look at
Still enjoying the things.
and when you look at and when you look at the annual process of that, you make way more progress over 12 months than you will with any kind of restrictive eating.
Okay. Speaking of balls to walls, last night Margaret and I, we went to our neighbor's house, and we had 3-4 neighbors over there, and we went balls to walls. We went from turkey, and I can't remember what it was, but turkey, egg rolls, bacon, and then desserts, like all sorts of pies.
Yeah.
Gluten-free pies that some of our other neighbors made. It's like,
Like a Friendsgiving.
yeah, pretty much,
Yeah.
because we're 2 weeks away just about, and so it was
This
fun.
time of the year, that happens a bunch. I mean, anytime I go to her parents' house, there's always pie. Anytime I go to my grandparents' family
Always
stuff,
pie.
there's always dessert tables and pie tables.
Yeah.
And we just eat like we want to. I think the biggest thing that we have started to change the way we look at food is not from a bad, good, calorie in, calorie out, of more of a how do I feel afterwards. That's how do I want to feel later on, and do I just want to be, if I'm okay with it, if I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna I'm gonna enjoy myself, and I know I'm gonna feel like shit afterwards, and that's just part of my day, then I'm okay with it. Instead of it being like I messed up.
Right.
I feel guilty about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the over consuming of the pie, if you look at it and you're like, okay, I shouldn't have pie. I'm gonna eat pie today because I can't have pie again. So then you over consume because you put it in your mind that you shouldn't be having it and you can't have it after that day. So I'm just gonna eat all the pie that I physically can. So taking away that mental thought too makes it better, because it's I'm gonna have a bite of this pie,
Right.
and I can have pie whenever I want because
Portion control.
it's available.
That's such a great point. I am guilty of that last night. Our neighbor made this pie, pudding pie. I was like, oh, dude, I'm going to eat this because I won't ever get to eat this for another year. And that's how that was my train of thought. Why the...
Well,
It's
that pudding
normal.
pie might have been special though, so you might not be able to get that.
It's
for a while.
normal. It's very normal. It's built into us.
It is. It's built into
There's
it.
there's something in the DNA that's genetically locked in from hunter-gatherer scarcity of this may never happen again, and I think a lot of that's subconscious, that we don't even know it's happening. So it takes us repeating that information over and over and over again. The pie's still gonna be there. You're gonna have the opportunity to have pie again. It's all right. Just taste it, enjoy it, and watch your portions and move on. And be okay with it.
That's the problem.
It's hard.
I taste it, I enjoy it, I'm like, it's freedom. I'm going to get some more.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
I'll eat it all.
Yeah.
Seriously. So photography.
Yes.
Let's talk photography for a little bit.
Okay.
Right?
All right. Yeah.
What got you into photography, and do you still do it?
Okay. I don't remember the exact transition, but when I was applying for college, I had just got my senior pictures done, and I was like, I want to do photography. And then I just my first semester, I took a basic photography class, and I just kept on. I never changed my major, nothing. I just liked it. So graduated. Photography, UCO, mass communication, and then I've been doing it ever since.
What kind of pictures photography do you do, and what's your favorite type?
Man, I love couples. I love like two people interacting together. So I shoot we do a lot of weddings. He shoots with me.
I was gonna say, when you said we, I was like,
Yes, he's my second shooter. He's my assistant.
what do you not do? But we'll get to that in a little bit. Okay.
So, when I graduated, I did a lot of family stuff, weddings, started into weddings, and then for a while I took a little detour into commercial photography. And shot a lot of guns. I was on the gun range a lot for the NRA. So yeah, that was really cool. And that kind of got me into, I really like kind of focusing on like small business type stuff, or like anything that somebody's like really passionate about, and like doing like a lifestyle twist on it. I love that. So lifestyle and couples is our favorite. But when we were dating, I had one of my assistants cancel on me last minute to help me shoot a wedding, sick kid or something. And I was like, all right, you're up. You gotta learn these buttons and you gotta go.
Yep.
Like, that's like a big test of our relationship right there. Because I am like full high stress power mode when I'm shooting weddings.
Yeah.
That's very stressful.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So that was back in 2015. We weren't engaged yet. And then now he shoots most of the weddings with me. Yeah.
What was that like when she put you on the spot? It's like, here's all these buttons. You're my assistant. Let's go.
It was definitely pretty nerve-wracking, because the number one thing was I just didn't want to like miss something or jack something up that was going to be the best worst thing about shooting weddings is you have one shot. Like this isn't something that you can go back and do over.
Yeah.
So you better be ready, and you better be on your toes about stuff, because this is it.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of pressure on wedding day stuff. And I think the only thing that wasn't, I think the hardest part about that was having the confidence in the technology and the confidence in the skills aspect of it.
Yeah.
I had a base level going, and I'd seen enough photography that she had done where I understood what needed to be in frame. I understood what she was trying to get done.
Yeah.
But the technical aspects of making adjustments and learning the different lenses quickly was hard. But it was also, I understood that I was there to assist and there to help, and she was in charge, and so it was just keeping my listening ears on and just staying on my toes the whole time. And that was about it. And I just took it seriously, but took it as in like I want to learn as much as possible, as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Right now.
So when you took him on as your assistant, Danielle, just be honest, were you ever at the point where you're like, what the frack are you doing, dude?
Oh, yeah. Many times. And weddings are, I love them. I thrive in the chaos. I lose myself in the moment. I love it, but it's so stressful. And sometimes I'm like, hey, I need this lens, or I need another card. And then if I think that he's walking a little too slow, I'm like, can you move faster? Like, come on, like, let's go. And it's not even that he's moving that slow. It's just not as fast as I would probably like run and do it, because I'm like frantic and, you know.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that too.
Yeah.
You're a pretty detailed dude, I would imagine.
Not consistently.
Well, the reason why I ask is because she says, hey, I need this card, I need this lens. So are you asking for specs? Like, I need 32 millimeter, I need a telescope, whatever.
She's usually pretty clear about that information. Okay. And she's like, hey, grab me the 50. And then it's me going over to the bag and me going, which one's the 50?
50 caliber?
I'm like looking at it.
Right.
I'm like, oh, this one's.
Exactly.
Because for me, I'm still like at a point, or then
You're
for
like,
sure.
I know the lingo.
Where
he's like learning it.
Right. And she can like see a lens and know which one it is. And I'm still at the point where I'm like
look at it.
reading at the edges of them.
I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
To go, okay,
So I
that's,
know,
this
yeah.
is the 50,
No.
this is the 35, this is,
No. Yeah, I can I know. I can just look at them and I just know which one's which without numbers or anything. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
That's another thing.
Yeah, definitely not detail oriented, but I'm, for the most part, really, really, really calm all the time.
He's very calm.
So it's very, very level-headed about those situations. So it's just like, okay, this one's next. Okay, I'll take this over here.
Yeah.
And that speed doesn't align with her speed.
There's no calm in my blood.
You said you're calm. She's not.
Yeah,
Ever.
yeah, right.
Always, never.
Yeah.
Does it frustrate you when gets caught up in the moment?
No, I just know that that's how she is, and so I just try to be as I try to be as consistent as possible, because I know that she's gonna be all over the place, but I expect that.
So now
So
the
it's just
question
normal.
is, does it frustrate me when he's so calm?
That was my.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, how are you so calm?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is life or death.
Right. Right. Yeah. It'll
How
be
did
fine.
you develop your calmness?
I think that's something that I've always had forever.
Okay.
Not that I really remember being calm for a long time, but the way that my family and grandparents have talked about me growing up, I was always very still and just watching and observing all the time. So that never really went away.
Yeah.
Just being able to just sit in the moment and go, okay,
Yeah.
now let's make a move, and then now let's adjust. So that's something that's just supernatural for me to stay calm.
Man, that's impressive.
But it's not something that I work hard at, so it's something that's easy for me to stay calm most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to believe that leaders, really great leaders, are your calm ones. And nothing wrong with being frantic, because sometimes you got to have a balance, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I look at the calm ones. You know, they're the ones who are listening and kind of seeing what's the plan, how are we going to execute this plan. You know, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, and I think a part of that is I had a grandma growing up who was very not strict. She wasn't strict about things, but she was definitely in tune to emotional intelligence way early. Like, this is 30, 40 years ago. She was in tune to emotional intelligence about stopping, processing, listening, responding, and not being quick to respond to situations. And I remember being like 7 years old and her saying, stop, tell me what you're feeling about the situation, tell me how you're feeling about it, and now tell me why you're going to change your action because of that. And me explaining those things to her from when I was super young.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was super annoying, and I was like, this is ridiculous. And I didn't realize that effect until, just the last couple of years, which that's part of the calmness. And I kind of see that with some of my cousins too, is the ability just to go, okay, now move.
That's awesome, man. It's interesting. And I'll share an example of just me and my corporate professional life. In meetings, I always sit back and I just listen and observe the room. And I've had a few bosses prior to this one. It's like, man, you need to speak up a little bit more and get your thoughts and engage. And it's not I'm not engaged. I'm just listening to 10 different people talk with 10 different ideas, and I want to kind of digest the ideas and see how can we all bring these ideas and make it work.
Yep.
And it'll take me half a day to think about it, because I don't want to interject like, oh yeah, you're right, you're wrong, no, you're right.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah. So You're the frantic one.
Well,
you know, I don't think you're frantic.
No, I'm not frantic.
Okay, I didn't think you were frantic.
But I was gonna say I've never seen a wedding photographer be calm. Honestly, I mean it's just stressful.
No, I agree.
So maybe not
Yeah,
frantic,
you have to.
Just
you have to match the energy of the situation.
That's a great
Yeah.
point. And I think that's where
Yeah.
I don't think she's frantic. I think she's got good high energy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think you have good high energy.
Very high energy, probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I would not be good at leading. I would not be a good head photographer in that
Right.
situation.
Yeah.
Because I just move at a different rate than the situation's moving, and you've got to keep up with the situation.
No, I think that's valid, and I agree. I think wedding photographers, because when Margaret and I got married, she was intense, but she wasn't like me. She's just like, hey, I want to get the best pictures to you as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
And her assistant was the same way, you know. And so you had to move in tandem. You had to move. Everything's coordinated to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't think you're frantic. I think
No,
you have high
yeah.
energy.
High energy.
Yeah. Margie's
like
the same
that
way. Yeah. No, that's what I said. I don't think you're frantic. I
Right.
think you have high energy. So that's really good. Before we move on, we got something for y'all.
Oh, thanks.
This is for you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Look at that red.
This is our love language on the podcast.
Oh, yes.
I
yours.
love
Thank you.
it.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Very cool. Yeah, I love the green.
Yes.
We did a green hoodie last winter.
Love that. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Oh,
We're
we're
supposed to
glad
go on like a run after this, and I was like, I didn't bring any like sleeves to run in. And now,
Yeah. That sounds so fitnessy. Gonna go on a run after this. We don't enjoy running. She enjoys running
I'm
more than I
enjoying
do.
it now. More.
But we only run
To do
or
something
practice
cool.
running
For an event.
Gotcha.
if there's an end goal,
Yeah.
for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not part of our process.
I don't enjoy running, and I played soccer my whole life.
Oh, wow.
And,
That's a lot of running.
Margie she's done marathons and triathlons. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Military life. What got you to the Marines?
A really good recruiter who got me into the Marine
Around
Corps.
here?
This is in the northwest side of Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Yeah. So I grew up Putnam City North, graduated up on the north side of
Okay.
West City. Post 9/11, so I was a junior. No, that would have been into my senior year. Yeah. So graduated in 2002. So post 9/11, I decided I want to be a firefighter after seeing 9/11 happen. And then going through school, figuring out, well, how do I become a firefighter? And I was like, well, you got to go to an academy, and then or you have to apply to each city, and then different cities and different states had different like requirements on education. And so I was like looking through that, trying to figure that out. I knew college was not going to be a good option. I knew I was going to have to pay for it. I knew I was going to be in debt for it. I knew that I was not a good student. And I had a horrible time in high school with academics, and not from being able to be academic, but I had zero focus or effort into studying and showing up and attendance and all the effort part of academics.
Wow.
Really, really bad. So I knew college would be a failure because it was all self-motivated, and I knew that wouldn't happen. So when a recruiter came to me and said, have you ever thought about joining the Marine Corps? And I was like, no, I've never thought about joining the Marine Corps. And like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to be a firefighter. And they said, we have firefighters in the Marine Corps. And I was like, okay, all right, what does that mean? And it just happened to be that one of the recruiters at the station, that was his first job before he was a recruiter, is he was crash fire rescue in the Marine Corps. And so he's like, come into the station, sit down with him, he can tell you all about that process of being a firefighter in the Marine Corps. And he was like, basically that recruiter said, you go to the same school, use the same books, get the same certifications that you get in the civilian world, which it is. It's the same, it's the firefighter 1, firefighter 2, hazmat 1, aircraft fire, all the stuff that I got is the exact same education you get in the civilian world. Same manuals, same books, everything's the exact same standards. So like when you get out of the Marine Corps, your certifications that you get transfer directly into the civilian world DoD immediately.
Yeah.
And so that's how I was like, all right, well, I can go to the Marine Corps, I can get some experience, I won't be in debt, make a little bit of money, get certifications that I need. And so that's why I joined the Marine Corps, was to be a firefighter. It wasn't necessarily to be a Marine, but the Marine Corps recruiters are great at being Marine Corps recruiters.
Yeah.
And I was asking them, I was like, well, if all the branches, we go to the same school. So the school I went to had Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, all in the same classrooms. So you'd be in a room full of other branches when I was at school. And I was, well, if I can go to any branch and get the exact same education, you know, and they were like, well, the Marine Corps is the hardest and they're the best. Okay, well, then I'll join the Marine Corps.
I like it.
And so then joined the Marine Corps, and that was basically it.
It's the hardest. It's the best. And you signed up.
Yeah. So that's it. That's all. That's as simple as it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was basic training like?
It's I mean, it's definitely very formative. When you're 18 years old going through that kind of experience, it's very humbling. It's really, really intense. And it's also, it's like another, it's in a completely different world.
Yeah.
It's nothing that you know before, and there's nothing you can prepare for to get ready for it. But I think one of the best things about it being so intense and so physically, mentally hard is that everyone gets torn down to the same base level.
Yeah.
And something that has always stuck with me from the Marine Corps, not just in like who you are as a person, but when they really talked about, like racism, or when they talked about sexism, when they talked about all these things, and it doesn't matter, you're all worthless. And that was repeated over and over and over again, it doesn't matter. You're all green, you're all pieces of shit. That was constant,
Yeah.
And then it was, at the exact same time, through all of the adversity that happens inside boot camp, with all the yelling and screaming and lack of sleep and shitty food and crazy hours and education, was this back and forth of, you are nothing and you're equal to you are 6 foot and invincible. And so it was like the back and forth of this. And I remember being out of the Marine Corps, people talking about, oh, you're just brainwashed. I was like, no, I wasn't. And then like years later going, definitely brainwashed. For 100% brainwashed. But it had to happen because they were making warriors. Like, you had to have a headspace of, it doesn't matter, but you have to get done what needs to get done, no matter what. And here are all the tools that needs to happen to make that happen. And the boot camp was a super condensed, intense version of those lessons. And then, this is how you fire a gun, and this is how you walk for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And this is how you work without sleep, and
Crazy.
all that stuff.
You got a favorite gun?
I don't have a favorite. The weird thing is since I've been in the Marine Corps, I've rarely been around guns since it. I'm definitely not opposed to weapons at all. I've never felt that I've needed one, but I also have the most amount of time, like hands-on with an M16 or an AR. So I'm incredibly efficient and I have, like a really great skill set with that weapon.
Right on.
So it feels the most natural, I haven't touched one in, I don't know how. I mean, I haven't touched an AR-15 in years and years and years and years and years. And if I were to have one right now, it would feel like riding a bicycle.
I have one.
I mean, it's really something about it. I've spent so much time with it.
Here we go. Here we go.
That operating one right now and using it and being efficient with it would be really easy. Which is weird because you just spend so much time with it.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Maybe after the show, I can bring it out. It's like, hey, man, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite gun?
No.
No?
Yeah. She shot her first weapon on a photo shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was doing like NRA
And
stuff.
one of the, and she was, when doing the NRA stuff, she was like hanging out with like top of the top.
Yeah.
All these like
X-Men
prior
SEALs.
SEALs and special spec op guys and instructors and
one just came out with like a couple of books. And
and they found
And I
out
would-
at one of the ranges
I would
that
be
she had never fired a weapon before, and they were like,
no, but they would be like right here shooting, and I would be right here getting close-up shots. Like I would literally say, how close can I get? And they would be like, however close you feel comfortable with. But we're 100% like, confident that whatever. So I'd be like,
yeah. So
like
I
standing
think,
on ladders, like.
yeah. So I think the first time you ever fired a weapon, it was wasn't
Probably
it a SEAL that?
Or was it at Thunder Ranch? No.
It was either a SEAL or a Force Recon guy taught you how to shoot a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, and then they had me line up with all of them.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was scary. I mean, it was scary.
I have a
What was it,
CT-29
though?
too.
What was the gun? I had a kick to it for sure.
I can't remember. I think it was a 9mm. I think.
Anyways,
Pretty sure it was.
so yeah, that was my I've shot like 3 guns, just on photo shoots. That's it.
Question for you, Danielle.
Yes.
What has photography taught you about life?
Oh man, that's deep. What has photography taught me about life? Oh man, I'm gonna say something cheesy like, oh, the memories matter or something like that. Photography has taught me about life. I think when I made the transition into more lifestyle stuff, I think it's hard when you think about picture perfect and you want to get this beautiful family photo and everyone's smiling, but I like the real better. I like the candid, the laughing, the kid crying, spinning around. And so I think it's almost enjoy all of the moments instead of just the really serious kind of
orchestrated moments.
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah. I can relate because I feel like the world has gotten to the point where we've got to take the most perfect picture. We've got to have the best filters, and it's just be candid and be authentic.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. When she says lifestyle, what that means is that there's a difference between taking photography and saying, okay, you stand there, put your hand there, put your foot here, look over to your left here, okay, now turn and, okay, put that thing here. That's all.
And I always get those too.
Yeah, and there's a time and place for those superposed,
for sure,
created images. Mm-hmm. But the majority of the work that we like to do, and especially that she likes to do, is the moments in between the posed images are the most natural. That's really,
Yeah. Even with couples, when I pose them and I'm like, okay, hold each other really tight and now kiss, and then they start laughing right after. I'm like, okay, we're gonna go over here. It's the way they fall with each other is different than how I place them. So
That's
it's just
awesome.
I don't know. It's just
and it's really funny too because you'll send out a gallery of images, and they'll have the ones that are perfect, and that's something that they might want to print out and put on the wall. But the ones that they share and the ones they like the most are the one of the kid crying or of the husband rolling the eyes or someone falling.
I
or
always include all
those are the
those. I love
ones.
them. Yeah.
that we always
That's
get
awesome.
the feedback
Yeah.
of those images
Yeah.
Yeah.
more than the other images.
Right.
People always enjoy those more. Maybe not they might share them, but those are the ones they like the most.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
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 What about you? What's the military taught you about life? The Marines.
Everything. No.
So many things.
So many things.
Well, it's really it's hard because the military, I mean, spending 5 years active duty is such a gigantic amount of time. And the other part about what the military has taught me about life is that it keeps changing as I go through life. There are so many things that I thought I was learning about the military when I was in it. There was things that I thought I was learning from it 5 years after, and there's things that I've thought about how it's affected me 10 years and 15 years later. So every 5 to 8 years, when I reflect back on the military, has changed what I learned from it as I've changed and as I've grown. But I really think the biggest thing about the military, and I can't really say the military as much as the Marine Corps specifically, is the way you perceive everything else afterwards is a big change. I think that, like, and it sounds a little socialist, but I think that everybody should do 6 months of service after high school.
Yeah.
But they should do 6 months of military service, and they should do 6 months of customer service.
Perfect.
For sure.
Because we've both spent time in the restaurant industry, years in the restaurant industry, and I think a lot of people just don't have the respect for other people, and that changes with your time in the military. The way that you look at other people, it just changes because you've been through so much of the worst of like these situations, to where you're like, okay, this is what really matters, and this is like the respect for humans. And the Marine Corps is just a more intense version of that.
Yeah.
I would probably say the single biggest thing about the Marine Corps and the way it affects life afterwards is that nothing is impossible headspace. In the Marine Corps, it wasn't whether or not, there was never that a mission was not possible, right? You couldn't even have a conversation about mission failure.
Right.
It was, we have to do whatever we have to do to make this happen, whether or not that's what's planned, what's not planned, what's legitimate, not illegal, but
Right.
it was, there's like this famous like picture of that gets sent around about Marine Corps stuff, and it's a picture of the mouse going through the maze to get to the cheese, and it talks about the Marine Corps method, and it's eaten through all the walls to get to the corner. So it's that's like summed up the version of that's what it's like. That's the biggest takeaway. Is it's not like think outside the box. It's you destroy the box. There is no box. You just get there.
Yeah.
That's definitely a big takeaway.
Find a way to execute.
Yeah, and just do it.
Yeah.
Not that it's going to be, and that's another thing too. People think is finding a way to execute and having zero mission failure is not that there's an easy way to do it.
Right.
It's just that it may be extremely difficult, but it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think your grandmother's mindset helped you prepare for life, military, with emotional intelligence?
100%. Yeah, but I wasn't smart enough to understand that until the last couple of years. I had no idea that it was affecting me the entire time.
Yeah.
Until I had the ability to really like look back on it and there's been more education that we've gone through that has been reflective of that, and I'm going, oh, whoa, I didn't. I already learned that lesson.
Yeah.
Like a long time ago, I learned that lesson, and I had no idea.
Yeah. Wow. So after the military, what did you do?
Fumbled around for a long time, that's for sure. getting out of the military is a weird thing because most people don't have a plan. They like high school, military, and then you get out of the military, and then you're like, now what do I do? You know, you're like,
Yeah.
crap, I'm like 18 again. I have no clue. What am I supposed to do now?
Right.
So the natural thing was, I guess I'm going to go to school. I guess I'm going to find work, and I'm going to try to further my education. I knew that about halfway through the Marine Corps doing firefighting, I had gone into, I did aircraft firefighting the entire time, but there was a small stint where we had the opportunity to work 30 days with the DoD firefighters on base. So we did the expeditionary airfield tactical side of firefighting, helicopters, jets, planes, fast movers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's all we did. We didn't do any structural firefighting. We weren't in a big red fire truck. I mean, we were in this like big green 4-wheel drive, fire truck.
Yeah.
With these big shiny suits that were super high temp for fuel fires. So we had never experienced what the civilian side of firefighting was. And so they had this thing where we could rotate, and it was a 30-day program where 2 guys would rotate and augment onto the DoD guys just for experience, and we would help them out. And that combined with doing my EMT certification, I had to do ride-alongs in town, off base, with an IMSA service. And I did those 2 things, and I immediately went, I do not want to do firefighting. This is not what I want to do. Because I had seen so much of like the military structure in firefighting and in that world, because there's a lot of carryover. And I never liked authority, and I never liked being told what to do, which is ironic to join the Marine Corps. And I learned more and more and more about how I did not enjoy that inside the Marine Corps.
Right.
And I was like, there's just going to be more and more of this afterwards. And so I knew that I had to figure out what I could do on my own.
Yeah.
And not that I had any clue that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just knew, well, I've got to figure out something that I don't have bosses, because I don't work well with bosses. Just never, I don't know why, but it never clicked with me. And so as soon as I got home, I was like, well, I'm going to start going to school for business. At least that's a good track for most things, for most skills.
Yeah.
I got a couple years into that, 1.5 years technically, and I got involuntarily recalled back into the service. Yeah, so I did 4 years active duty, 02 to 06, deployed in 04, and then I was home 06, 07, got involuntary recalled, which means they send you a letter that says you're going to get screened to go back in for another 365 days. You have no choice. Like this is your, because I was still in my 4 years in active reserve.
Okay.
Now, when you join the military at the beginning in the Marine Corps, they say you have an 8-year commitment. 4 years active duty, 4 years in active reserve. Don't worry about the inactive reserve. That's for, crazy times, and it's, it's never been used ever, blah, blah, blah. They definitely used it.
Right.
And I think in 08, the Marine Corps had its single biggest recall ever. And they recalled something like 1,000 Marines back into service.
Wow.
Maybe even more than 1,000. But it was because 08 to 09, we were still in Iraq, but enlistments were dramatically down.
Oh, okay.
Several years. I mean, obviously, the motivation post 9/11 for people joining was already super low. So there wasn't people enlisting like they used to be, and there weren't people re-enlisting because people had already done several deployments, and they were like, I'm out of here. I don't want to do this. For whatever reasons, the Marine Corps, the military was not the best option for them. So they had a recall because they literally ran out of NCOs to deploy.
Oh, wow.
They had to bring people back in to deploy more people back out.
Yeah.
There wasn't the numbers. And so I got involuntarily recalled 08 to 09 and went back to Iraq in the winter. And I had decided then I wanted to pursue fitness. And I had been doing fitness for as long as I could imagine. I mean, I had a job in high school where I was a personal trainer at a big Globo gym, which I lied to get the job because they asked what my like education and experiences were. And I had multiple credits in physical education.
Yeah.
You know, it was PE class in high school.
Nice.
But I got a job.
Yeah.
And I was a personal trainer teaching people to use machines somewhere between my sophomore and junior year of high school.
Yeah.
And so I'd been part of that like world forever.
Yeah.
And before that, my mom had been a personal trainer for a couple of years, so I'd kind of seen bits and pieces of it when I was in my early teens. But for her, it never worked out as a single mother. Just to be a personal trainer, your schedule is brutal. Like, it's not that it's brutal. It's just that you better have the capacity to work odd hours from 5 a.m. to 7, 8 p.m. Every day of the week for a long time because you're a service-based industry. Yeah. So when I got recalled, I decided, I'm going to get a certification. I'm going to study for a certification. So I bought some program through ISSA, and it was a self-study program, and then you could take the test inside this kind of like test center, place later on. So I took the manual with me when I deployed and studied, and then came back and got certified. So I changed my degree to kinesiology.
Oh, okay.
So my college years were from 06 to like 2010, 2011, where I was trying to go to college, did business, left, came back, went back, and I was doing bartending, waiting tables when I had been deployed. And that chunk of time from 06 through 2011 was me working at restaurants and bars and going to school to try to figure out what I wanted to do, and taking business and kinesiology classes just to figure out if this is what I wanted to do. So those years were all over the place where I was doing something, but I really wasn't making any progress at all. I was just kind of spinning my wheels for years, trying to figure out what I wanted to do.
It was like pause mode.
It basically was.
Like a lull.
It was definitely. It was It was. I just didn't. I had no like real direction. I had no plan. I had no end goal. Nothing. I mean, all the way until 29, I think. 28, something like that. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
So when you think about your military, your life prior military, post-military, what are some moments that I call them defining moments that you thought about that's like, man, this is maybe a transition moment that made me get to that next level and to the next level?
First deployment was probably the big one. I mean, definitely if you look at like, okay, graduating high school, graduating Marine Corps boot camp, now I'm a Marine. Okay, I'm there. And then after deploying, there was definitely a moment where I was like, I've got to stop like putting myself in such the shell of being like generally quiet guy and like a back of the pack and type of just make things happen, just like I'll be around type of guy. So I started to break out of my shell then with the like coming back from Iraq was definitely a moment of like, I mean, excuse the language, which Marine Corps was the size. I was like, fuck it, I'm just doing whatever I want. Like that's a lot of that was, why am I so like, what am I doing? Like I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. Who cares, And then leaving the Marine Corps and then getting deployed, that was another moment where the second deployment, and it wasn't that the deployment was bad, it was super easy in 08 to 09. It was really boring, good and bad. But there's a moment of like, I'm gonna start doing some shit that I want to do. Just because I like, all right, you know, it was like I bought my first motorcycle because I was like, I've always wanted to do this. Why am I holding back? Let's just do it.
Yeah.
And then it was going to school, and like then it was the kinesiology, and I was like, this is what I want to do. Like I'm going to try to figure out how can I do this part of fitness. But that was all like stepping stones, and there was never anything that was really big, life-changing moments along the way. It was just things that kind of stacked on top of another one, stacked another one, stacked another one. I don't think I had anything major happen that really made me stop and like go, whoa, what am I doing? Until my bike wreck. That was probably the first time at 27 or 28 that I really had a reality check. And that's saying a lot. This is post 2 deployments. This is the first time I ever went, whoa, I need to get my shit together.
Yeah.
So the same thing, buy the motorcycle, right? Motorcycles are inherently dangerous. And especially the way that I treated them.
Before
and treated myself. So I had a really bad wreck. I guess I was 27 or 28, 2010. 2009, 2010.
Well,
yeah.
2020.
Spring of 2010, Valentine's Day. I had a wreck just by myself, being dumb, going way too fast.
How fast?
This is a little over 100 miles an hour.
What kind of bike?
It's a Suzuki GSX-R 1000. Heavily modified bike. 200 horsepower bike. 9-second bike. This thing is a rocket. It is... We talk to people who like the math on like falling out of an airplane, like skydiving. It is the exact same acceleration of falling out of an airplane. So the speed per second.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's what that acceleration feels like on that kind of bike. And it's amazing. I still have the bike.
You still have a bike?
I still have the exact same one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I rebuilt it, and it's in the garage, and still just as fast. Don't ever ride it anymore, but it's still there. I can't get rid of it. But that wreck, tumbled down the road for a couple hundred yards, and spent the night in the emergency room.
Helmet came off. Severe
Concussion, 3rd degree, road rash all over, 30% of my body, but didn't break a bone. Literally did not break a single thing on my body. And, but those moments of being in the hospital and like being on the side of the road, like waiting on the ambulance, and the moments and like trying to like recover in the week and 2 weeks afterwards, seeing how I was affecting everyone around me because of my ignorance, definitely put me into a mindset of like, I've got to like do something. Like this is, you've been fucking off too long. You're not making any real progress. You're not moving forward. You got to stop this just playing, and so that was definitely, that's when I pushed harder into kinesiology and started actually working in the industry in fitness. I didn't have a fitness job ever since high school. I'd been bartending and going to school. And so then post-rec, rehabbed myself, got back to moving around, got back to moving. It probably took about 3-4 months before I could just run again without pain. Because I tore my knee up pretty bad. So I went from wheelchair to cane to walking in, I don't know, it was probably 6 weeks. And, but my leg, it wasn't that I had anything broken, but my body was just trashed. Mm-hmm. And, which I still feel now.
Yeah.
but it's not that I feel it like I'm like having pains of it. It's just my body's just never been the same, and how it like works and recovers, and like things are always just a little just not even. I got my first job doing a boot camp job out in the middle of a field with some company and some guy, and started yelling at people to do hundreds of flutter kicks and the boot camp workouts. And that's when I changed my went harder into kinesiology, went full-time student, and learned once I started teaching people in fitness that I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, I've got to figure out how to do this and do it better and do it more efficiently and like make a life out of fitness.
Yeah.
So then it was just an evolution of education and time rolling over and over and over and over again to get to kind of where Prevail is now. From that, the wreck was definitely the moment that gotta get my shit together.
Yeah, so you got that wreck, and you're laying in the hospital, got probably these machine things hooked up to you, and you thought to yourself, man, I'm really effing up here.
Yeah.
And I'm being selfish.
Yeah.
Now I gotta move forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Prevail.
Yeah.
What does the word prevail mean to you?
Prevail was whenever I worked for someone else, and then I ended up getting a job at like a kind of a big Globo type gym, and I was doing personal training and teaching their boot camps. And the weird thing about those jobs is you have a boss, but you're kind of in control. And so it was a little bit of both those worlds of like, I have someone who I have to like, you know, there's someone above me, there's a boss, there's an owner, but
check in with.
At the exact same time, you were in control of your sessions and your time, and you were in control of how you wanted to affect people. And so there's this kind of the mix and match of like, I can deal with this, I can have a boss, I can just, okay, yes sir, all right, do that. And I was not the greatest employee, but I did a good job personal training. It took a couple of years of that to figure out, well, how do I take that and be my own person? How do I take that and be my own boss? And so for, I don't know, probably 2 years, I worked as a trainer and an instructor for the gym. And then when I saw the limitations in working for somebody else. And I saw where I was like, all right, there's no way I could do this for 20 plus years. I can't just teach these classes and be a personal trainer. Like, I can't be here at 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. and work these 15-hour days forever. There's no long-term with that. So then I tried to figure out, well, how do I take what I'm doing and how do I make it my own? And how do I get some ownership of it and more control of it so that I can really build it to something that's bigger than myself? And whenever I started thinking about brands and what to use, I kept thinking, well, I want it to be one word. I want it to be super simple. I want it to be right to the point. And I don't want it to be fitnessy. I don't want it to be motivation fitness or hit this or whatever it was. I wanted it to be something that meant something by itself, and then it could be applied to fitness.
Did you have a name before Prevail?
I did have a name. Whenever I did the outdoor workouts, I did those for like 2 months, 3 months, and the guy who did it ended up like skipping out of town and like taking all the money and leaving, and just left us there. And I was like, showed up to teach people, and I was like, there's no more, like, it was called Go Warrior Fitness. And this guy was nuts. But, you know, I learned some lessons there, for sure. And so then I was like, well, I had people in front of me, and there was no more Go Warrior Fitness, and so I was like, well, I better become a thing. And so I was No Nonsense Training was the name of it then. And I tried to keep that along, but then when I was working for the gym, it didn't really make sense, and it was like kind of combative of like, I can't brand myself and be an employee. And I didn't like the I don't know. I didn't like the no nonsense was too. I don't know. It just wasn't.
Douchey.
It just was a little like.
I love it.
It was just so fitnessy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, and so that kind of like deteriorated over time, and learning from that, and learning from trying to be my own thing, and then working for someone else. I started thinking about, well, how do I make something that's super clear and to the point? One of the tattoos I had gotten in the Marine Corps was I'd gotten the word strength as a tattoo, and I had made it as a ambergram. So I had a buddy of mine, we worked at an ambergram is something where you can read in two different directions.
Okay.
So you can read it upside down. So it's the same word. You read it this way, it's strength, and you flip it upside down, it's still strength.
Nice.
And when I had gotten that was like that was the first, and this is post-deployment, where I started thinking about the word strength in more than one way. So not just physical strength, but mental strength, and looking at what strength means outside of the physical side of strength.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to take that same concept and put it into something bigger. And that's when it just took me going through a dictionary of words around strength and overcome and winning and adversity. And so I started looking at all those words until we kind of came around the word prevail. And I'd seen there wasn't a whole lot of prevail in the industry.
Yep.
There's one, like a martial arts place, and there wasn't anything on the trademark or on like the national side inside of like there wasn't any corporations or LLCs with Prevail. And so we went into, we're going to use that as the word for training. And then I bought out the boot camp program at the gym from them.
Yeah.
And instead of me teaching their classes, which was self-limiting, I said, well, I'm going to take your program, I'm going to buy it from you, and now I'm going to operate it 100% under me. And then I'm going to sublease the space from you. So I came up with this arrangement and all these numbers, presented it to the gym, and everyone made more money. So when I presented it to the owners, they were like, okay, great, take it. And so that's when Prevail got created, was I took ownership of the entire thing.
Yeah.
And then the word Prevail Strength and Fitness was what we aligned that transition with.
Yeah.
And that was the big deal with Prevail was definition of Prevail is to overcome, and there's some other stuff after that. But basically, that was the phrase I wanted was you're from one point, you can get to the next point. As simple as possible.
I like it.
You go A to B, you can go A to B.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah. I like that word a lot. To me, I resonate with it as well. It's a very powerful word. It's a simple word, but I think it's a very powerful word. And if you were to have 3 words to describe yourself, which 3 words would you pick?
Oh, wow. That's a hard one.
That is a hard one.
Okay, how about this? Danielle, if you were to
Oh,
3
gosh,
words
that's even harder.
to describe your husband, which 3 words would you use?
Oh, man. That's so hard. 3 words.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know what 3 words they would be.
Because I'm going to ask you the same question about how would you
Oh gosh, he's way better at this than I am.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
I express my emotion and words through photography, not through words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little more of a wordsmith than her.
Yeah, he's way better. You should hear our wedding vows. Leadership. Is that Is that a good Is that what you mean by words? It doesn't matter?
Yeah, that's good.
For sure, leadership. Oh, man.
I think the first one for her would definitely be hardworking. For sure.
Perfect. Yeah.
I was gonna say selfless for him. For sure.
I like it.
Man, a third one. That's so hard because there's like 10. How am I gonna like narrow it?
Yeah, hardworking, genuine, passionate would probably be
Yeah.
the 3 for her.
That's good.
Hey, I like those.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
those.
Those are really good words because I can tell when you're speaking that you are very passionate and you're very hardworking. So that's good.
Shit talker can't be one for him, right? Just kidding.
It could be. Yeah.
Okay, leadership. Selfless. There's too many. There's too many. I feel like I'm not gonna pick like the best one that describes.
Oh, yeah, it has to be the best
It
one.
has to be the best one. Come back to me.
Okay. Well, we'll get back to you, Danielle.
Yeah.
After this commercial break.
You guys need a commercial break?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to act like we were on a TV show.
I was going to say, we can cut to commercial now.
That's so hard.
So you started Prevail, and then you became, Danielle, involved in Prevail more full-time, or are you still doing it part-time?
Four. Full-time for sure.
Full-time.
Yeah, I initially created Prevail in 2014.
Okay.
2014, we had just started kind of dating. And then
I did his first branding photo shoot
Smart man.
in exchange
was just
for
me.
dinners.
Wow, okay.
Maybe, I think probably gym membership. We probably did like a trade or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I think it was, so 2014, she was working full-time at the ad agency and doing her own photography on the side, which was just basically 2 full-time jobs. And then we dated, engaged, and I had Prevail from 14, crazy summer of 15, bananas. That's a talk
A
about
whole other podcast in itself.
Talk about another moment of going, whoa, wait a minute, that was a bad summer. And then in 16, we moved into the
No.
17.
16, we got engaged.
Yeah, and 16
And then 17,
moved into
I got
the
my
studio.
first training certification.
Okay.
Knowing that the end goal was to get the own studio and for me to like move into training too.
Nice.
Yeah,
Then
so January of 17, she got her first certification.
Yes.
Okay.
To
And
be able
I
to
had
start
been training for like 7 years at that point.
Yep.
And then 6 months later,
we opened the gym.
opened the studio,
And then
and she started teaching her first class.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so there was
Bells and bubbles.
so there was her being a student
For 2.5 years.
2.5 plus 3 years in fitness before
I started teaching people.
teaching people, and then so
Okay.
the photography had been the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's bells and bubbles?
Well, I was teaching kettlebells, and then I brought champagne to all the sessions.
Oh, okay.
All the girls, we would have a drink afterwards.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
That's
fun.
creative.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Wow. So you're doing this full time,
Yes.
training. Do you still do photography?
Yes.
On the side? Now that's like a side hustle. Or
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I was-
seasonally.
Seasonally, right now it's like I feel both of them are full time currently.
Yeah.
But that's normally just through like busy wedding seasons, and then fall is always nuts. Like the
Yeah.
end of September through Christmas basically is kind of like overload for family pictures. And
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't say no to anything, so here we are.
Yeah.
Are you both active on social media? Or I know both of y'all are.
Yeah.
take this one from you first, Sean. How do you deal with negativity?
Negativity from social media?
Social media, or just an unhappy client, or you hear a bad review.
Bomb. He's gonna be like, we don't get that review. I'm just kidding. We might.
No. Negativity from social media, I just make fun of.
It fuels his fire.
Yeah, I just lean into it and I just troll the person.
Yeah.
Pokes the bear.
But yeah, that's the easy side. That's easy. From the business side, from the professional side, we are constantly asking for criticism all the time.
Right.
So when we get things that are negative, it's not that it's not surprising, but if we get something that's negative, we're almost already kind of not too surprised if something comes up and it's negative, and we're like, okay, we can kind of see where that was coming from.
Yeah.
So the number one thing, as soon as anything's negative happens at all, first is, what can we learn from this? So
evaluate.
What can we take from this information, and how can we improve for the future, first and foremost? And then the next thing after that is the validity of it, whether or not it's an emotional or an actual like real issue from negativity. And then...
Yeah, because if it's somebody that just likes to complain all the time, then...
I mean, there's difference between...
sometimes we can take a little bit of it, but...
Yeah, the negativity, yeah. And then the next thing after negativity is, well, how can we take that information? How can we flip it 180 to actually help the person? So what is it that's being negative? What did we slack on? What can we learn from it? And then now how can we take that information? And then how can we reintroduce that information to that individual to create a different solution? Why is this negativity happening? Yeah. So a lot of exploring the negativity is... For the most part, that's how we try to approach it.
That's good. That's good. What about you, Danielle? How do you deal with negativity?
I don't do as well as he does, because I feel like I usually take it personal a little bit still, Like I feel like it's like a failure type thing when like somebody says, I'm like, oh man, I didn't do that good, like that. But when we first did my Bells and Bubbles, probably, he was like, okay, well, you have to ask, like, all these questions on, like, rating it. What can I do better? What did you not like about it? And I was like, oh, I don't want to know, Like, I was like, I put so much into this. I don't want to know what they didn't like about it. So that was, like, a big growing point for me. Like, the way he looks at things always, like, puts it into a different perspective. So I was like, okay. And now I ask that all the time. I just finished a 12-week program, and I'm like, you have to give me one thing, because this is how I'm going to better it for other people. So now looking at it in, like, a different way, that it doesn't have to be, like, negative if it's negative. Yeah. Like, the negative can be turned.
Ooh, I like it.
Into something bigger.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I'll show you next round.
Yeah. So speaking of dealing with negativity and how can we turn it to make it better, on our show, we've asked our watchers, viewers, listeners the same thing. How can we make the show a little bit better for you? How can we engage with you? So what they decided to do is like, hey, can we send in questions? So what we've done is we've compiled questions from our listeners and our viewers and subscribers.
I was wondering what those were.
So I'll let you pick one question.
Oh gosh.
All right.
Okay.
And this is from Danielle. So your answer.
Oh shoot. Oh well.
You gotta read the question, because I don't know what they are.
Well, then I have a question about my question before I can answer it.
Perfect.
Do I answer this question?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, read it out loud.
Would you rather be invisible or have X-ray vision? So X-ray vision, does that mean you can like see people's thoughts? Or does it mean you can see into things?
No, technically means see through though.
See through, yeah.
You can like see through a wall.
But not like what they're thinking.
You can probably see in their brain, and maybe if that's how you want to take it, yeah, perspective. I like it. Go ahead.
Oh, that's so hard. Invisible? Sometimes with my mask, I feel like I'm invisible and I go to Target now. And I kind of like that. But if I could see what people were thinking, I would choose X-ray vision.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Then my feelings might be hurt a lot too. Or I would be like, oh, I just walk around like that.
I can't believe that.
That's good.
X-ray vision, that's a good one. That's hard. Those are both good.
Here you go, Sean.
Man, those are good questions.
Good question.
Random questions.
I like it. This is fun.
Have you ever really kept a New Year's resolution?
Ooh.
Man. I hate New Year's resolutions.
He hates them.
I hate the concept of capping your like starting and stopping. You know?
Well, sometimes you
and
need
like
to push.
I mean, yeah. I talk about this every year.
He hates like putting the motivation and the discipline off of like a New Year's thing, a start date.
Yeah, aligning it with
like
a
it.
time of year doesn't make any sense to me. Have you really ever kept a New Year's resolution? Since I don't really set that many, this is really hard.
He probably hasn't, I'm assuming. Probably didn't set one.
Man.
We hit set one this year.
I can't think of a New Year's resolution that I've written down and then actually finished. So I don't know if there's ever been one that I have kept at all. I don't think so. I don't think there's ever been one that I have finished.
Yeah.
Ever. I don't think so.
Probably
I think
not if you
New Year's
have
resolutions are something that
wrote down a lot.
what I love about New Year's resolutions is asking people to repeat their last several years of New Year's resolutions. If there's repeating patterns in New Year's resolutions, we have a much bigger problem.
Very good.
Very.
We could just end the podcast on that answer. That's good.
Yeah. That's
You answered these again?
Yeah, I'll throw them
Put
back
it
in
back
here.
in the
Oh,
thing.
are you gonna answer one?
Yeah, you have to answer one.
Yeah, I've never had anyone really ask me to
you
answer
go.
one, but I'll take one out of the thing here. Let's see.
You get the same one.
That'd be pretty funny. What's one of the best compliments you've ever received?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, man,
So many, right?
I don't. I feel like probably one of the best compliments I've ever received is just being a listener, just being able to listen to
Seems fitting.
your story, and just sitting there and not comparing my worst story versus your worst story or your best story versus my best story. It's just listening and sharing the thoughts if they ask for it. If they don't ask for it, I just keep listening.
Right.
So that's a good question.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That's my next question. The saying is, the hashtag it's okay to prevail. How did you come up with that?
I was trying to design a shirt. So, which is another thing. I always loved being creative, even though I am not great at executing creatives. And so when I created Prevail in 2014, I was going to make our first shirt. And it was going to be like it was a transition from going from teaching to being in charge, and it was a transition for students because they were now going from Red Rock members paying $50 a month for this boot camp class to paying $100 a month for this training service. And so things were shifting. And so I wanted to make a shirt that was, I was going to give to everyone who made the transition. And it was going to be like a founding member type thing of Prevail. And so I was trying to think of ways to make a shirt that had Prevail on it, but was like kind of clever, and so
They would get excited about
something that they would
wear.
like to wear, and they'd be excited to wear that wasn't super fitnessy, right?
And along this time came out a lot of like Oklahoma gear.
Yeah,
Like a lot of the boutique
that,
places
and it was,
had a lot of.
a lot of places were really leaning into the state outline and Okie and Oklahoma, and all that was like really becoming popular. And so I kept trying to think of how I could incorporate that, and the image was in my head of its, and then the state outline of Oklahoma with OK, and then to Prevail. So It's OK to Prevail was really initially built off of an image of a way to look at it's OK Oklahoma to Prevail. So we made that shirt, and then social media was really cranking up around the same time, and there was a lot of the hashtag thing was becoming really a big deal. And so that turned into using that shirt as our hashtag of it's okay to prevail, because now it had this double meaning of Oklahoma based, and then also anytime you say it, we can use it as marketing, use it as a consistent hashtag, because now it's literally telling them it's okay for you to prevail. And so that's both pieces now. We use it all the time.
I like it.
Yeah. And then we just made, last summer, we made a second version of that exact same shirt. The first one was pretty crude. Blue shirt with, at the time, the colors of the brand were blue and silver when I had changed the room over.
A little like
The font's a little
much.
it's a little over the top, but.
So do you sell these shirts?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how do our listeners find these shirts? Here's your plug. Go ahead.
Dun dun dun.
I don't know if all the new shirts are on the website or not.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
PrevailStrengthAndFitness.com has a store that has all of our old shirts and whatever new shirts we have
That are available. We will ship them to you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I think it's okay to Prevail one. I think we're sold out of those.
Yeah.
I think. So we do a lot of our.
The tan, it's okay to prevail.
The tan, it's okay to Prevail.
Yeah.
A lot of our apparel has been like, we'll do something, we'll make this shirt for this quarter, this shirt for that quarter, this shirt for that quarter.
That's cool, yeah.
We don't have anything that's ever been consistent the entire time.
That's awesome.
We've never had one shirt that's always been available, which is just something we're playing around with.
Yeah.
We're getting closer to having something that's a little more constant.
Or
that's
maybe
always
we just,
available.
Like, switch the colors every year or something.
So we have a better stock of it.
That's cool. That's cool.
But that's where it's okay to Prevail came from.
Yeah. As Prevail, what do you, and both y'all can answer, or one of you can answer, what do you think in the next 5 to 7 years Prevail would regret if Prevail doesn't do?
Making itself bigger is definitely something that, and when I say bigger, I don't mean physically in the location bigger, but bigger in how we can affect more people. Bigger. That's definitely something that we've recently, obviously Rona has put a huge accelerator onto that.
Right.
Which a lot of the industry has had that exact same accelerator button pushed of you better pivot and make yourself available now. So we've definitely we made hard shifts in the last 6 months to make Prevail bigger than a single location offering this thing.
But even outside of like the training aspect, working out of Prevail, we always talk about adventure and enjoying things and pushing yourself, and within that we've talked about Prevail as a strength collective. And then within that I would like, we've talked about making our own seasoning for like spices. We always do like big bowl dinners, and we want to make bowls and like a whole different like Prevail as a
That's
brand
awesome.
in general.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like that way bigger. You know, we're like,
Yeah.
it's like Prevail is a lifestyle for us.
Yeah.
So it's almost like,
Yeah. Way
The
more
thing-
of a huge, like,
yeah.
encompassing cultural kind of, you know, not even to like, you know, like some point in the next year, we're probably going to go back and do Rim to Rim Grand Canyon again. But, you know, that's always been a big vision of ours, is to be able to do that and take that experience for more than ourselves. You know, same thing with photography, is taking photography outside of a family on a field to we're going to climb up a mountain with you and document and take pictures with you, or we're going to take
To
these
capture this experience for you.
That's awesome.
right,
while
or
you're
we're
doing
going to
these cool
help
things.
create this experience for you, because a lot of people will never put themselves in those positions to
Yeah.
have those experiences.
Yeah. We'll
So
map out the
So that's
map out the
a,
mountain and capture it.
that's a big piece of Prevail that we want to make sure we
Man.
lean into.
Keep growing.
So when we do a podcast in 6 years, I'm going to follow up and say, hey, so we talked about this 6 years ago.
Yes.
Where are we at now?
Do all these things.
Yeah. Well, you'll know it'll be true when you've hiked the Grand Canyon with us.
Yeah, that's true.
You get your big bowl and your seasoning.
That's true. I like it. And I like how Prevail is pretty much, it's a lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's definitely a way of approaching everything. And it's not that it's a way of we say all the time, you know, in the fitness world, they say, well, you have to make it a lifestyle, right? And you hear that a lot. And we kind of contradict that a little bit in that we don't want to make fitness your lifestyle.
Right.
We want to take your lifestyle and add fitness to it. We want to elevate your lifestyle. We want to create a next version of your lifestyle. We don't want to replace your lifestyle with what we expect of a lifestyle to be.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah. So
like it.
that's, you know, a big goal is to have Prevail be the next evolution of how you treat your life.
Man. From a movie, what scene describes Prevail?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Today, oh man, with like 2020 COVID stuff, I feel like we're like Wilson. Kind of like bobbing
that's
in
a good one.
bobbing in and out of the water randomly, you know? Like,
Yeah.
we haven't completely lost Wilson yet, but we're kind
Yeah.
of, you know, just trying to survive.
Well, based on
Yeah.
when Margie and I came up to Prevail last week, it seemed like things were going quite well. I mean, you guys were teaching and had clients up there having a good time, smiling, working out hard.
Yeah, we are in a good place.
Yeah.
Definitely not in a place that we want to be at all. But I think the things that we've set up in the last year or so pre-Rona really put us in a good position this year to hold our ground. Which we're definitely thankful of. I don't think that any other version of Prevail prior to this could have handled Rona as what we have right now.
No.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What has the Rona taught you guys as a couple?
As a couple, oh man.
I don't know. We already spend all of our time together.
But we do handle things differently kind of. I don't know.
There's a little more. I think there's a little more. I know us as a couple. I don't think it's really changed anything.
No, not like
I don't think there's been anything that's. I know a lot of other people, especially other couples, have had big shifts in their relationships because of it. But we've been working side by side for years, so there really hasn't been a big change in our day to day, much at all.
Yeah.
Just the way we deliver our business has changed, but our relationship has not changed much at all.
No, but now, like, looking back over the last year, I feel like we had a very, like, we didn't, like, say it, but I think we had a very, like, mentality of, like, this is not going to stop us. Like, what are we going to do to make it better and to, like, keep moving forward?
like it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it, but, like, when we got shut down, we just started, like, working on the gym. Like, we worked on whatever we could work on.
We completely rebuilt the studio.
Yeah.
Wow.
We, like, demolished everything. We, like, painted stuff, and, like, we're there all the time, and it was, like,
Yeah,
okay, well, we'll just make it better.
We
when
might
we
have
can't
worked
work
harder
out.
during the shutdown than any other time.
Yeah. It looks good.
Thank you.
It looks really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been an evolution for sure. We spent, the gym was a mess for 4 or 5 weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
trashed. Yeah. We did a lot. We did a lot of work during the shutdown.
We did no working out. We just did.
Yeah, we barely got a
building
workout in.
things.
Barely. But when the shutdown happened, we were like, okay, what do we do now? And then instantly it was like, all right, how can we change? How can we make things better
Yeah.
right now? We gotta be prepared.
We have to work on this. We didn't want our clients either, like our students, to think that like we were just like chilling for the 8 weeks, you know? Like I feel like that
Just
was also
taking
like a
time off.
very big like like how do we like make this better for when they can get back in the door instead of like, oh, it's just the same. Like how can we improve even though they can't be here?
That's awesome. That's a good mindset. I like it. Since we're on a personal level, Danielle, what 2 questions you wish people would ask but no one ever asked Danielle? Sean, think about this because you're next.
Oh, ask him first. You always ask him first. Don't ask me first.
What 2 questions?
2 questions. Oh man.
From a professional side,
Oh, there we go.
I think that I wish people would ask more questions. I just wish that people would ask more questions
What? About what?
about their problems. I think that they're asking, the questions are either short-sighted or they're simple, there's not enough of them. And I think that's a big problem is that it's, how can I fix this? And not a question of, how did I do this in the past? How am I doing it now? How can I change it in the future? How can I do it that it's sustainable? How is it going to affect other things around me? So I think most of the times when people are asking questions, I wish people asked better questions. And that for this is something I do all the time too, as I process. I don't really care that people want to ask questions about me, from like who I am, because I don't think that really matters anyways. So that's a very hard, I don't care for anyone to ask me questions about me. I want people to ask questions that are going to change them.
So then I'm going to ask you a question that's going to help me become better.
Okay.
What is your definition of leadership? What does it mean to you?
Okay.
And how does it feel?
Okay. Leadership, I've spent more time under leadership than being a leader to this point. And the things that I think most leaders focus too much on is the fact that they are the leader, and that just because you're the leader or you're in charge doesn't mean that you're the best, you're right, you're the solution, you're the, all the things that most leaders think they are. So I think that what being a great leader is having the ability to put people into positions as individuals that they can excel the greatest as themselves, and being able to organize and orchestrate, direct those people to push harder in those directions, not just managing people. I'm not managing a group. I'm not telling people what to do. And I think that's something that more leaders could do a better job of, is looking at how can I get everything around me to be the best of all those little pieces so that the whole becomes better.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
And how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel great when everyone around me is doing great.
I like it. I like it. So Danielle.
Oh gosh. Yes.
How do you start a culture?
How do you start a culture?
Uh-huh. That's good. That's good.
That's a hard one. You can try whatever you'd like. How do you start a culture?
Just like leadership, by example.
Yeah. I guess you just do what you enjoy doing and know what would help other people, and then try to get other like-minded people in with you. That's the best way I'm going to describe it, probably.
Yep. And it may not be other like-minded individuals, but it's definitely, like-minded individuals definitely helps a lot with a culture, is also having an alignment to what the culture is about. And branding and culture is, something we use in the studio often.
Right.
is one of the kind of pillars of a culture, is something that they all believe in at the same time. So what is that thing that you all believe in that's the same? And something that we try to create our culture in the studio and around Prevail is that you're always learning. So that's one piece, one pillar of culture, is that if everyone in the room understands that we're always learning, then no one thinks they know everything.
And
if
no
everyone
one gets upset if they don't know something.
Exactly. So now you've created a group of like-minded individuals, because there isn't someone at the bottom saying, well, I'm an idiot, and there's not someone at the top saying, well, I'm the best. Everyone in the room is at the same level of, we're all trying to learn something. And it's okay that we don't know everything, but we're all in the same energy of, let's all take something away from this.
Yeah.
And I think that goes with, too, is always having in your mind that there's no end goal, or there's no stopping point. There's never once I get here, I am accomplished and finished. I've made it to this point. There's always something above the next thing that you can work towards or shift or kind of.
I like it, because I always say there's no finish line.
Yeah.
Right.
There's maybe just checkpoints.
Yeah, checkpoints.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah, good culture needs good icons. Man, I'm just as I'm
I know, we're thinking of all the branding things.
As I'm spinning this information back, I'm processing the last 50 books I've read. And we've done a ton of self-education with
That's awesome, man.
branding and culture.
That's great.
But a lot of culture is based on icons inside the culture.
Yeah.
And aligning those icons, I mean consistent with those icons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like making sure we're speaking the right way, explaining things the right way, and
Yeah,
not
for sure.
being so like, I always say douchey, but like Jimmy douchey, you know, like bro-y, you know.
What's up, bro?
What's up, bro? Even though I love to say protein, bro.
Yeah.
You
love
know,
it.
but
Yeah.
huh, it's a good one.
How does Danielle want to be remembered?
Oh man, so deep again. I don't know, I'm gonna think on all these questions for like ever now. How do I want to be remembered? I want to be remembered as caring, and I wouldn't say motivational. I don't, but like not inspiring. But I want. What is it? What word am I looking for? Like when you're like helping like push people to do what they want to do. That's not motivational.
Impact?
Maybe, but I don't want to be the one that impacts them. I want them to realize that they're capable more than they think they are. So not like as a I made an impact on their life, but maybe like push them to figure out their next stepping stone type of thing. I don't know. Does that
That's
make sense?
good. Yeah.
That makes sense? Oh, good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Sean, how do you want to be remembered?
That crazy shit talking Marine.
I don't know.
Big beard. The nice beard.
Yeah, he's well groomed.
One thing that I have always, I have always been like super respectful of people that I've ever met in my entire life. That I've always like the first thing I've ever thought about when I've met someone is, man, that person's smart. That's always been like a big deal to me whenever I'm around someone. Like, man, that person's smart, and always trying to be around people smarter, like smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter. So selfishly, looking back on everything I've done, I would love for people to look at me like that. Man, that guy's smart about
That's awesome.
that.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because smart people never say that they're smart. They just are.
I want people to think
Yeah.
I'm funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it. Well, when Margaret and I met you both, we felt good energy, and we felt that you are smart. We feel like you both together push people to get better every day, and there's no limit to their greatness. They're always chasing it, right? So they're always climbing, and that's how. I mean, on the way home, I was like, man, that's a power couple, and I appreciate the time that you both took out of your day to come over and visit with us and do this podcast. And
Yeah.
I need to sign up to go to your gym.
Just
And-
come on down to Edmond.
That'd be, golly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to change, we're trying to change what people think fitness is, what it has to be.
Right.
And that's a really big goal of ours is to put people into a different, not put people in a different box, but
I think people are very turned off by fitness and working out because there was a weird culture shift, years ago, just like all in, die, like sweat, you're on the ground, like never quit, like those types of things make it really hard.
Yeah, all the stuff that's aligned, like all the stuff that's around motivational posts and what you see, if you ever see a personal trainer in like a movie or a TV show, they're always over the top, they're always douchey, they're always this.
They never have clothes on.
Yeah, it's this idea of what a personal trainer is. It's just a cheerleader with some muscles, and I really hate that. I don't even like saying I'm a personal trainer because of what the initial assumption is. The same thing as a coach. A coach has been so dulled down now to what an actual coach is. And So that's something that we're working really, really, really hard to teach as a culture, is that fitness isn't what you think it is. It's not what you see on TV. It's not what you've created inside your mind. And I think that that's one of the biggest reasons that fitness is unapproachable to most people, is because of the version they've created inside their head of what fitness is.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
And I used to be that way.
Yeah.
You know, years and years ago, that I used to be that person.
Right.
And I was like, this isn't necessary.
Yeah.
I can still deliver without being that person.
Yeah. Well, I can honestly say what you both are doing is not generic. It's outside of it's forward thinking.
Yes.
That's how I feel. The vibe I get when I was in there, I was like, man, it's really cool. Different from any other generic gym, obviously. This is just kind of catered to what you want to do. How do you want to become better? I'm here to help you become successful, whatever your goals might be. But I love it. You guys gonna do it on Southside, Prevail Southside?
I want everywhere.
Every week, she's like, when are we opening up another one? When are you opening up another
We
one?
need one in the mountains. We need one by the beach. You know, that way we can go to all the locations. You know
That's
what I'm
awesome.
saying?
And the name itself,
Yeah.
legit.
Thank you.
Prevail.
Thank you.
And if we change
Thank
it
you.
to Prevail, the Strength Collective.
That's really catchy too. I like Prevail Strength Collective.
Yeah. We're playing around with the new hoodie that says Prevail, a Strength Collective.
Because our really big t-shirt right now is Prevail OKC, which I like that. But if we're going to
Go.
now we have online clients that are everywhere. So
Yeah, the way we're offering Prevail is gigantic that we've never ever done before. We've just started the education about educating people about how we're offering Prevail differently now than before. That's going to take a considerable, way more work.
ooh,
A lot of work.
I'd subscribe to your guys' workout. I would. And because I've done other workouts with other, I'm not going to name names, but
Right.
but they're just unique. The way you guys articulate your workouts and your thoughts. I think it's super important to be able to connect on a genuine level. They're just like, oh, hey, thank you for doing X, Y, Z, and it doesn't sound authentic to me. It's just like, oh.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So good job, man.
Thanks.
I can't wait to get Prevail Southside, Prevail Mountainside, Prevail Beachside,
Yes.
Exactly.
Prevail Worldwide.
Exactly. Just need a little more consistency from the current world, where we can lean back into that stuff.
Consistency from the world as far as.
Yeah.
Or, actually putting out physical rotation. Because,
making adjustments.
Right
Oh, okay,
now, New Mexico gym shut down. Portland's gyms are shut back down. Colorado's gyms are shut back down. I mean, so we
California,
can't be opening gyms if they can't be open.
California gyms
know?
have been closed for 243 days.
How
Which is
sad is that?
Bananas.
It's very sad.
It's awful.
Bananas. Crazy.
Yeah. That's sad.
Yeah. But it's a blessing. We would have never been able to
Remodel the studio.
remodel studio. We would have never been able to create the versions of
The
Prevail we
online
have now,
stuff.
and now we have. Currently, we have students in
Alaska, Washington.
1, 2,
Texas.
3, Colorado,
Wow.
4,
Colorado.
5, 6 states.
Dang.
You know?
That's awesome.
And that would not have happened otherwise. It might have happened, but it would have been years.
Yeah.
We would have
Yeah.
never pushed on it.
Yeah.
Texas, yeah.
You both ever thought about starting your Prevail podcast together?
Someone bought a bunch of equipment during the Rona and then never
That
executed.
was me. I couldn't figure it out. I thought we were just
We have a
gonna plug
mic
it
and a
in
stand
go.
and a little windscreen thingy and
If you need help, let me know.
And
I do.
Hope
I do
y'all-
need help. I like poured some wine and like plugged everything in, and I was like, I can't hear anything. This isn't as easy as I thought. And then I Googled some stuff, and I was like, not today. And then that was like a year ago.
yeah, we go back and forth. It's hard because we've learned that when it comes to people engaging with us, people love to watch us together.
Yeah, interacting. So
You know, the visual side of it
Yeah.
seems to get more traction.
Yeah.
the next
And the audio side of it for
adventure
us.
I would like to play around with when we have some downtime. Was we had a couple of students say that they would love to watch like a day in the life. So I feel like we need to like do some behind the scenes stuff and
That's cool.
Yeah.
That would be fun. It kind of
Talk
goes back to your
shit.
photography.
yeah.
Catching the, here's the end product, but what's the in between that makes it you?
Yeah, because when we're both in the studio at the same time, we like, is banter a word? Is that what I'm looking for? I mean, we don't
Kind of.
really, but kind of. We always go back and forth with
Yeah.
stuff. And
There's
stuff.
friendly banter and there's
Yeah,
not so friendly banter. But, banter's banter.
yeah. So that might be fun. Might be fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. If you guys ever need help with setting up your equipment,
Podcast.
Noted.
let us know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good to know. It's good to know. Yeah, there's
fun.
a bazillion things in my brain all the time.
No, I understand. It's hard to turn off sometimes. Sounds like everything. You probably never turn off for you. Because you're thinking of another bazillion things once you try to turn off a
Yeah.
couple things.
Yeah, I think that's why. I love movies so much. It's because my brain shuts off.
And I can't sit there and watch a movie because I feel like I'm wasting time to work on stuff. So even if I'm not like working on something, I have
Yeah.
to have something in front of me to feel like I'm like moving forward.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
No, I like to turn my brain off.
Yeah, he turns his brain off.
Yeah, I try to. And that's by reading a book or watching a movie to turn it off. But then I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
there's 2 hours I could have been doing this and that. I fight myself.
It's hard.
Yeah, I walk in circles a lot.
Yeah.
That's hard. But I think it's important to lean into the cycles that are already going to happen.
Yeah.
In the training world, there's a funny quote that says, if you never take a rest day, your body will take a rest day for you. And I think that from a mental side of it, I think it's very similar.
Yeah.
That it's impossible to work at 100% effort all the time.
Right.
And there's already going to be cycles in everything we do anyways. Our bodies, the brains, the weather, the world, our energy has natural cycles that are inevitable. So I think that it's really important to just lean into those cycles. When you feel motivated to work. If you don't feel motivated to work, if you're going to rest. If you're going to work. And so that the cycles, because they're never going to go away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for me, it's easy to go, you know what, I'm turning my brain off the next 2 hours because that's what I know I want my brain to do.
That's awesome. Good advice. I'm going to go back and listen to this episode and cut this out. And
Yeah.
Put this in. I might just write that out.
It's good.
Yeah, that's real good. 2 more questions for you guys.
Okay.
How do people get in touch with you? Instagram,
Yeah.
Twitter, Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, since we talked last time, I made 2 Twitter posts.
Well, I saw that you followed, finally.
Yes. Yeah.
Our Instagram is Prevail Strength and Fitness. My personal Instagram, which I post a lot of fitnessy things, is Dani, DANI _Prevail. You don't post a lot on your personal.
Sean _Prevail, but it's pretty
Yeah.
random. It's like a bunch of cheap stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing related to fitness at all.
Photography, Dani G Photography.
Okay. Is that a website or Instagram?
Website and Instagram and Facebook.
Dani G Photography.
Dani G Photography,
Yeah,
DANI.
and then Prevail Strength and Fitness on Instagram, Prevail Strength and Fitness on Facebook, prevailstrengthandfitness.com is a website, Prevail Strength and Fitness on Twitter, Prevail Strength and Fitness YouTube. It's all the same. It's all the same stuff. all the way
Prevail
across.
Salad at Cafe 7 in Edmond,
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
We run salad at a cafe down the street.
Version 2.2 just came out on Friday, and it is bomb.com. If you're ever in the area.
We should just go up there and have the salad.
Yeah.
So you have your own salad
Uh-huh. Yeah.
in the.
Cafe 7 is
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like
It's on
on
the
a board.
seasonal menu. We have Prevail salad. It's our 4th one.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not the real deal, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's the real deal. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Once you make it onto a menu, you're
Yeah.
chugging along.
You guys are edible now.
Step 1.
Really?
Step 1. That's it.
That's
Wow.
so funny.
How about a drink? Do you guys have like a shake, a protein drink?
A protein.
I don't know.
Should make a broteini. Like, I talked about making during, oh my gosh, we have to do it now. That's such a good idea. During the Rona, I got like some like protein powder from a supplement store that we go in all the time. And we said we were gonna make like a chocolate, like
Chocolate boozy protein.
healthy, like martini.
Yeah.
But we didn't do it. But now we need to do it and call it a brotein.
Well, we were gonna make it.
Like kind of a joke.
It was gonna be like satire of like making an actual drink, and at the very end, like sprinkling
Sprinkle
some
a little
protein powder,
protein
like just
on
a dusting of it to make it a protein drink. But really, it's just a
That's pretty good.
boozy
like-
drink.
That's good.
You know how like bags of peanuts now are like protein.
Oh, yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
It
oh,
just
that's like 3 grams and
Yeah.
like
yeah.
whole bag of
Yeah.
you know.
We
whatever.
don't have a drink,
Anyways.
but I mean, as you saw in the studio, we have a full cabinet full of whiskey at the studio. That's part of the brand.
That's true.
Prevail
Yeah, that's
whiskey.
right.
It is part of the brand. We do birthday shots at the gym. If you're there if you're in the studio on your birthday, we do birthday shots.
Yeah, and during the Rona, we FaceTimed or went live on Facebook all of our students for their birthday and did a birthday
That's
shot
cool.
to them.
Great touch. Well done.
Yeah, I mean we went through a full bottle of whiskey in like
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but there was
weeks.
a section of a lot of birthdays.
a lot of
That's
birthdays.
funny.
Yeah.
That's
Anyways,
funny.
yeah. Cool. Broteini.
Protein.
Yeah,
Last
that's it.
question for you.
Okay.
Look in the camera. Danielle, do you approve this podcast?
Yes, I approve this podcast.
Sean?
Yes, approved. Check. Stamp.
Check.
My name is Wong, and I definitely approve the podcast. Thank you guys so much, man. This
Wow,
is
thank you very much for your
fun.
time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I didn't
Thanks.
shake your hand at the beginning. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I shook your hand, and I was like, about 10 minutes into it, I was like, oh, I didn't shake your hand.
Yeah, you did.
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been like, hello.
Did I?
Yeah,
You
you
know,
did.
Okay, I wasn't for sure if I did.
did.